I mean, Tom, it was almost like that each joined a cult. And that sacrifice involved cutting out all sense of criticism, anyone who disagreed with them, family members who challenged them, and they just have each other.
Well, it's all about how they're going to make their money and fame and fortune. It has nothing to do with the truth. I mean, those three programs were really suffering. After the second one, I really felt quite sick. It was an exercise of self-harm. And so to watch it, you really felt in the end, I'm really punishing myself. Yeah. You're like Goebbels or the Third Reich. Netflix succeeded in sort of Stalinist propaganda and making you wash your hands and ask yourself all the time, is this true? Of course it's not true. We're being brainwashed by these Hollywood people who think this is the way to make money and, in the end, destroy our monarchy to make their fortune.
There are, of course, some specific attacks, Tom, including this one on the Prince and Princess of Wales. Watch.
Welcome back to the channel where we delve into the depths of royal intrigue and hidden agendas. Today, we're navigating the murky waters of Tom Bower's most recent rant about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, a tirade laced with the same worn-out accusations we've heard time and again. The narrative, as Bower would have it, is that Harry and Meghan are self-serving and manipulative. But there's a glaring irony here that begs to be addressed. If Harry and Meghan are as irrelevant as Bower and his ilk would have us believe, then why are they the only topic these individuals seem capable of discussing? Bower, you may recall, is the man who once claimed Meghan had trapped Harry and that the couple was teetering on the brink of divorce. And yet, here we are, years later, with Harry and Meghan flourishing in their new life in California. Bower's predictions have proven to be nothing more than the sensationalist claims of a man desperate for relevance. Then there's Dan Wootton, a man who has made a career out of his relentless attacks on Harry and Meghan. Wootton's name is practically synonymous with the vilification of the couple, his persistent criticism nothing more than a thinly veiled attempt to keep his own name in the headlines. It's the same tired story, regurgitated ad nauseum for the sake of maintaining a modicum of notoriety. The crux of the matter is this: Bower and Wootton are obsessed with Harry and Meghan. They've made it their mission to tear them down, to paint them as the villains in a narrative that's been twisted and warped to fit their own agendas. But the question we must ask ourselves is why? Why this relentless focus on a couple who, according to them, are nothing more than self-serving opportunists? Could it be that without Harry and Meghan, these men would fade into obscurity, their names forgotten in the annals of royal commentary? So two men, Bower and Wootton, seem to have made it their mission to tear down Harry and Meghan. But why? Now, let's look at the bigger picture, Charles and William. Are these two figures really as compelling without Harry and Meghan in the mix? Imagine a world without the drama and intrigue of the Sussexes. What does that leave us with? Charles, a man known more for his botany than his charisma, and William, whose idea of a wild night might just be staying up past 10. Without the magnetic pull of Harry and Meghan, would these two royals still hold our attention? The answer, quite frankly, is no. Charles and William, despite their titles and lineage, struggle to captivate the public in the same way that Harry and Meghan do. Charles, with his endless list of patronages and duties, might be seen as diligent, but it's hardly the stuff of front-page news. And William, while dutiful and caring, lacks the spark that makes headlines and drives social media trends. This isn't to disparage them. Not everyone is cut out for the limelight, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it does highlight a desperate need for relevance, a need that Harry and Meghan effortlessly fill. It's possible that this is why we see such relentless attacks on Harry and Meghan. Not because they are doing anything particularly scandalous, but because their presence, their actions, their very existence keeps the royal narrative alive. They are a lifeline to Charles and William, a way to keep their own names in the headlines. And it works. Every time Harry and Meghan make a move, the world watches, and in the shadows, Charles and William remain part of the conversation. Is it fair? Absolutely not. But is it effective? Unfortunately, yes. And so the cycle continues. Harry and Meghan live their lives, and the royal insiders attack. All the while, Charles and William benefit, their relevance maintained through the drama and intrigue of the Sussexes. So it seems without Harry and Meghan, Charles and William might just fade into the background. But who are the real manipulators here? Let's examine this in more detail. When Bauer accuses Harry and Meghan of manipulating the media, it's worth noting who truly profits from media coverage. The royal watchers amongst us will remember how often Charles and William are shielded from the spotlight when it comes to their own controversies. Take Charles, for instance. His finances have been a topic of intrigue for years, yet how often do we see this discussed in the media? Instead of being scrutinized, his questionable financial dealings are glossed over and conveniently forgotten. Then there's Prince William. His personal life has been a source of numerous scandals, yet these stories mysteriously vanish, swept under the royal rug, while Meghan is criticized for attending a concert or for choosing to wear a certain outfit. The media appears to be more interested in the Duchess of Sussex's wardrobe than the Duke of Cambridge's indiscretions. This is not to say that any person should be targeted unfairly by the media, but it does question the balance in scrutiny and the selective focus of the press. Who benefits more from the media's protection? Certainly not Harry and Meghan, who have been the subject of relentless attacks since their relationship became public. Charles and William, on the other hand, continue to escape their controversies unscathed, their images carefully curated and protected. These are the real manipulations, the calculated moves to divert attention, to shield from criticism, and to control the narrative. The media's role in this can't be overlooked. Their biased reporting and selective focus are tools used to shape public opinion, to distract from the real issues, and to keep the spotlight firmly on Harry and Meghan. So, it appears the real manipulators might not be who Bauer and Wootton want us to believe. As we peel back the layers of this royal mess, it becomes clear that the true puppeteers may be closer to the throne than we are led to believe. What is the monarchy's biggest fear? It's not Harry and Meghan. The real issue for the monarchy might not be the actions of Harry and Meghan, as some royal insiders would have you believe, but rather the lack of interest in Charles and William. The truth is, the world is changing, and the monarchy, as it stands, struggles to keep pace. Charles and William, with their stiff upper lips and their adherence to age-old protocols, might just not be as engaging to the public as Harry and Meghan, who are unafraid to blaze their own trail, to speak their truth, and to challenge the status quo. The monarchy's traditional approach and reluctance to adapt to the changing times could be their downfall. Charles, with his hands forever shaking at events, and William, with his often lackluster interviews, just don't seem to spark the same level of interest as Harry and Meghan, who are vibrantly living their lives, following their passions, and using their platform to make a difference. The monarchy's greatest fear might not be Harry and Meghan, but the public's growing indifference. In a world filled with pressing issues, people are less interested in the pomp and pageantry of royalty and more concerned with authenticity, transparency, and social impact. The fear for the monarchy might very well be that, without Harry and Meghan, they risk becoming irrelevant. They risk fading into the background, lost in the noise of a world that's rapidly moving forward. They risk being forgotten, their glittering crowns and lavish palaces becoming nothing more than relics of a bygone era. In the end, it's not about Harry and Meghan. It's about the monarchy's struggle to stay relevant in a world that's evolving faster than they are. It's about their fear of becoming just another historical footnote, of their legacy being overshadowed by the very ones they tried to silence. In the end, perhaps their biggest fear is becoming irrelevant. So, what do you think about all this? We've unpacked a lot today, dissected the narratives, looked at the patterns, and it all leads to one question. Are Charles and William exploiting the public's fascination with Harry and Meghan to remain relevant? It's an intriguing thought, isn't it? Let's ponder on this for a moment. Imagine a world without Harry and Meghan in the headlines. Would Charles and William occupy the same space in our minds? Would their actions, their words, their deeds hold the same weight? If your answer is no, then you might agree that there's a possibility that these two figures are using people like Tom Bauer to maintain a hold on public interest. But don't just take my word for it. Look at the evidence, examine the narratives, and form your own opinions. After all, it's your perspective that matters most. Now it's your turn to weigh in. Dive into the comments and let us know your thoughts. Are Charles and William using Harry and Meghan as a smokescreen? Is this a desperate bid to stay relevant, or is there more to the story? Regardless of where you stand, your voice is important. Let's keep this conversation going. But remember, this is not just about sharing your thoughts. It's also about challenging the narratives that are being spoon-fed to us. So don't just stop at commenting. Share this video with your friends, your family, your colleagues. Let them know what's happening. Let them form their own opinions. Let's widen this conversation. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Stay with us on this journey as we continue to question the narratives, as we continue to seek the truth. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more updates. Stay curious, keep questioning the narrative, and let's keep the conversation going.